On a dark night, the same news echoed through every corner of the city. The king had been murdered. But who was the murderer? No one knew. Every eye was wide with fear. Every heart was filled with unexplained anxiety, and the question on every tongue was, what would become of the kingdom? Then, a man, considered mad, emerged and declared himself the murderer. But was this true, or just another example of his madness? What happened next was destined to change the fate of the entire city. It was a story from ancient times. A mother had 3 sons. 2 of them were intelligent and smart, having started businesses. However, the 3rd son was considered simple and foolish. One day, the mother fell seriously ill. The 3 sons sat by her side, bringing medicine, food, calling a doctor or hakim, doing everything they thought was best for their mother. A few days passed, but her health didn't improve. Meanwhile, their business continued, leaving the shop unattended. Customers weren't coming, and business had stalled. Finally, the 2 older sons decided to hand over the responsibility of caring for their mother to their younger brother. They told the simple brother, "Sit next to your mother. Just make sure that no flies land on her face. We'll go check the shop and be back soon." The simple brother sat down next to his mother and began fanning the flies. But no matter how hard he shooed them away, they kept coming back. He angrily said, "I beat you, yet you keep coming back. Go away, I'll kill your ancestors too." He paused for a moment until all the flies landed on his mother's face. Then he picked up a stone and threw it at her face with all his might, killing them all in one blow. But the stone struck her, leaving her breathless. Just then, the elder brother was returning. He ran to meet them and exclaimed happily, "Look, I killed the flies' fathers, and your mother is laughing too." When the elder brothers came in, they saw that their mother was dead. They quietly carried her to the graveyard, buried her, and then returned home. Upon returning, the simple brother said, "Mother is dead now. Let's quickly divide the inheritance." The elder brothers explained to him, "This isn't the time. Let 3 weeks pass, then we'll divide the inheritance." But he persisted, "No, I want my share now." Finally, fed up, the brothers said, "Okay, if you're making so much noise, let's divide it now." They divided the house like this. "This house is ours, but the door is yours. All the furniture is ours, but Mother's spinning wheel is yours. These lands are ours, but the cow and the remaining sod are yours. All the other tools and equipment are ours, but the spade and shovel are yours. This large herd of goats is ours, but the 15 goats are yours. The rest of the things are ours, but the tumbler is yours." The simple brother immediately said, "Okay." 3 weeks later, when their mother's age was over, the elder brothers said, "Let's buy your calf. We'll cook it and feed it to guests with rice and lentils." They bought his calf for 7 dirhams. The dish was ready. The rice and lentils were cooked and laid out on large plates to cool. Then they told the simple man to go and bring his relatives a bill so they could eat, and then come with them to the graveyard. He went from house to house, saying, "Come and eat, but whoever comes will have to pay a dirham along with my calf." The brothers waited, but no guests arrived. Finally, the simple man said, "I've told everyone to come, but I've also told them that whoever comes to eat will pay me a dirham along with my calf." The elder brothers slapped their foreheads and said, "You fool! Since you've said that, who will come now? Come, take care of the food here. We'll go and invite the guests ourselves." They put him in charge of the food and went out. Just then, a dog came in through the door and started eating from a plate. The simple man said angrily, "Didn't you hear me say that whoever comes to eat will have to pay 7 dirhams?" But the dog continued eating without interruption. He ran to close the door and, holding a wooden stick in his hand, ran after the dog. The dog went behind the door and started barking. The simpleton swung the stick, but it missed the dog. It hit the wooden door above. The wood broke and fell down, revealing a large pot filled with gold coins. The dog ran out through the broken door, picked up the pot, and ran after it. "Dog, why are you throwing all this money at me? Just give me your 7 dirhams. Take the rest." Just then, the elder brother returned and, seeing him running, said, "Hey, this pot is ours. Where did the dog get the money from?" Then the three returned home, and the elder brothers took possession of all the gold. Later, guests arrived. Everyone ate. They went to the cemetery, and then they went back to their homes. Now the simple fool took his cow and goats to the pasture every morning. One day, as he was returning around evening, he saw a lizard sitting at the mouth of its burrow. He said, "Have you come to buy my cow?" The lizard shook its head. "Are you asking how much I'll sell it for?" He said, "If you want to buy it, just give me 15 dramas and buy it." The lizard shook its head again. "That'll be fun, isn't it? Okay. So you're telling me to come back in 15 days and get my money," the boy said. The lizard simply shook its head. The boy said angrily, "No matter what I say, it just keeps shaking its head." Saying this, he picked up a big stone and hit it hard, but the lizard quietly slid back into its burrow. Then the fool took his cow's rope and tied it to the mouth of the burrow and said, "Okay, fine, that's the cow. I'll come back in 15 days and get my money." That evening, wild animals came and tore the cow apart and ate it. 15 days later, the fool returned to collect his money. He saw a lizard sitting on a stone. "I've come to collect the money for my cow," he said. But the lizard simply shook its head, just as before. "Oh, so you've squandered my money. And now you're making fun of me," he shouted. Then he picked up another large stone and threw it at the lizard. But it sank back into its hole. "Now I'll demolish your house unless you give me 15 dinars. Saying this, he struck the ground with his spade. The ground cracked open, forming a large hole. He climbed down and saw a door open automatically, and inside were 7 large pots lined up, filled with precious stones and jewels. Each pot had 6 gold bricks on its mouth, and a golden rooster on top of each one. "I don't have time to look at your treasures. I'll just take my 15 dinars and go home," he said. He took the 15 dinars and went home to tell his brothers everything. The brothers said, "Let's go see where this house is." They went with him. After a good look at the place, they returned at night with animals and pack animals and carried off all the treasure. Now, a few days later, the fool was grazing his sheep. Returning home in the afternoon, he saw his own shadow behind him and thought a stranger was following him. "Have you come to take my sheep?" he asked. The shadow didn't answer, but kept following. "So, do you want the sheep?" When he didn't get an answer, he left the sheep behind one by one. When he reached the door of his house, he found all the other sheep had left as well. Now, he had nothing left of his inheritance except the door, his mother's spinning wheel, and a hoe and shovel. He put all these things on his back and set out on his journey. He reached the top of a hill and waited for nightfall. At the foot of the hill stood a spring and a tree. Just then, a traveler arrived, carrying 2 bags filled with gold and silver. He tied his horse to a tree, placed the bags on the ground, and took out a husked rice bowl for his meal. Being alone in the desert, he was terrified. So, to entertain himself, he began fashioning little human figures from the rice. He gave each one a name: Amir, another Satan, another Ali, and another God. Then he arranged them all in a row, and, using the excuse of eating, he would accuse each one of something, pick them up, and eat them. The foolish boy watched all this from the hill above. He threw down the stone from his mother's spinning wheel and called out, "Save some for me too." The traveler heard the voice but couldn't understand where it came from. At that moment, the foolish man threw his spade with great force and said, "Save some for me too." When the traveler saw nothing, he grew more frightened but remained silent. Then the fool threw down the shovel, the spinning wheel, and finally the entire door of the house. Seeing all this, the traveler trembled and cried out, "Oh, what kind of a turban is this? How am I supposed to get out of here alive?" He left all his belongings behind and applied strong poison to save his life. When the fool came down the hill, he saw that among the 6 idols was only one girl, the same one the traveler had called God. He cried, "Oh God, I came just in time. If I hadn't, it would have eaten you too." Then he packed the bag again, untied the horse's rope, mounted it, and headed home. When he reached home, his brothers opened the door and took all the goods. His hands were left empty, as always. No goods, no place to go. That night, as everyone went to sleep, the two brothers huddled under their blankets and whispered, "Now that we have so much wealth, we have so much wealth. If someone kills the king, we can become kings ourselves." The foolish brother heard this and said, "Okay, I'll go and kill him." "Hey, you fool," he asked. "Does anyone kill kings?" But when they fell asleep, the foolish one got up, took a knife, and sneaked out of the house. He kept walking and kept walking until he reached the king's palace. He went straight to his bedroom. He saw the king sleeping peacefully on his bed. He cut off his head and brought it home. When he got home, he said, "Look, I've killed the king. This is his head. Now get up, get ready, and become king in his place." The brothers were terrified and thought of a clever way to save their lives. They slaughtered a goat, put its head in a bag, gave it to the foolish brother and said, "Come on, since you've killed the king, take this head and throw it into a pond so no one will know." The foolish one took the bag and went to the pond near the door and threw the head into it. Meanwhile, the brothers hid the real king's head somewhere else. The next morning, the announcer roamed the markets and streets, shouting loudly, "Someone killed the king last night. If anyone knows the murderer, I killed him." People were astonished and asked, "How did you kill him?" He replied, "Just like that. And listen, I threw his head into this pond." Everyone said, "Come on, bring it out and show me." Then they caught his two brothers, thinking they were also involved. The poor brothers swore and said, "I swear to God, he's crazy. He just talks nonsense." But no one believed them. If you enjoyed listening to the story, please subscribe and comment. Finally, the fool was lowered into the pond and told to bring out the king's head. When he reached the bottom, he found a goat's head in his hand. He called out from above, "Listen, your king had long horns and a goat's beard." The answer came from above, "You stupid boy, just bring up the head. We'll see." When he came up, everyone saw that he was holding a goat's head. People laughed. The brothers said, "We told you he was crazy." So the three were freed. That night, when everyone was asleep, the foolish brother heard his brothers whispering, "It's better to kill him. Otherwise, one day he'll bring us disgrace." The foolish man heard this and waited, and when the two brothers were fast asleep, he killed them. The next morning, everyone in the city gathered for a special ceremony. It was their custom to release a royal bird, and whoever it landed on would become the new king. The foolish man also came to witness the spectacle. When the bird was released, it landed directly on his head. People were astonished. How could the kingdom ever fall into the hands of such a man? This ritual was repeated 3 times, and each time the bird landed on his head. Thus, he became king. As time passed, by divine decree, he grew wiser and took over the kingdom. The same God who granted him such a vast kingdom also gave him the wisdom and strength to manage it. Thus, a man renowned for his foolishness, by God's grace, became a wise king. This story reminds us that not everything in life is as it seems, and sometimes fate can elevate even the biggest fool to the highest position. This truth, woven amidst humor, is unlikely to be forgotten. If you enjoyed the story, please like, share, and subscribe to receive more such interesting stories. Be sure to leave your opinion in the comments below.